Welcome everyone to Mental Arts with John Worthington, the author of The Office of Shaman. And we are the Three Podcasts with Bree, myself, Lisa, and Lenore.
Lisa, yeah.
Hello.
Hi there, girls. How are you?
We're doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
As always, right?
Well, it doesn't cost any more, like I keep telling you, but it might as well be wonderful, be miserable. So
yeah,
always wonderful.
So, yeah, that's right. Always.
Yeah.
So what can I do? What can I do for you folks this evening? You think?
Well, we were chatting, and one of the things that we were looking at the last video, and I think Terry asked about moving the assemblage point, and it's like, okay, well, the next thing in the book is communication, and one thing like we've all noticed and we've experienced is there's a big understanding what communication really is, and a lot of people that's when we don't hear each other or we think somebody is saying one thing and it's really another.
Just for the record, you're breaking from me. You're breaking up quite a bit. I can't hear you.
Oh.
About every third word, maybe.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
I can hear you. If you don't break up, you're fine. Yeah. No, if you don't break up, you're fine. Yeah.
Actually, one second, I'm going to switch Wi-Fi. See if that works.
Okay. I may switch. I may get switched.
He's switching, yeah. I'm hoping mine holds.
Vincent's switching Wi-Fi's on me.
Okay.
Okay, now it's switched. So okay.
All
right.
All right.
Good.
Ask that again if you don't mind.
All right. Let's see if we do this again. In the last episode with Terry, she asked about the chapter in the book on moving the assemblage point, and we thought, well, a great next step would be communication. And communication, like we've all found, it's taken all of us a while to understand what that actually is. And especially like in the work environment and our relationships, a lot of times we think we're communicating and we're actually not. And so we just wanted to ask, okay, so what is communication?
Well, Lily described communication or defined communication as an exchange of information. And that's a really innocent sounding statement, but it's true. It's complete, but it's much more complicated than it seems.
Yes, and I think we've all experienced that.
Okay, so shall we explore the complications, or what would you like?
Yeah, because I think that's where the misconception happens.
Right,
because there's just not a real understanding of it, of what communication is.
Go ahead, Bree.
Right, because like you have like people, they're like, oh, where I told you this thing.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Oh shit, you did, huh?
You did? Yeah, where?
Okay, communication is an exchange of information, but it ain't information unless the other guy can tell you that it's information. In other words, the listener has to be able to say, this is information. Thank you. I understand that. Thank you very much. And without that part of it, there isn't anything. You're just talking to yourself. I've done that a lot in my life. I've talked to myself, and people would sit there and go, oh, apparently I was entertaining me, and so it wasn't effective. Didn't communicate anything.
So that it's like, okay, so like then it's like it's on us to make sure that that communication, that the person understands what we're communicating.
Yeah, okay. Here's the thing. It's like to communicate an idea. You have. It's really a very complicated concept, actually, because words don't mean what we say they mean. Okay. In other words, You know, I do this thing in class that you guys have all heard. It's like the ring, ring. Yeah, 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 okay, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, it's the word yeah, but it doesn't mean that ever.
No.
It's got all these other things. Everybody say, oh yeah, what yeah. Then and you're seeing your picture or your movie of whatever the hell it is that you think you're hearing. And me, I'm just pulling up different emotional loads for the word yeah. It doesn't make any difference what order they're in or anything else. It's, every one of them is a different load. Now take something like I love you. What in the hell does that mean? I mean, when girls say that and when guys say that, what does it mean? Neither one of them mean what they just said. You know, the guy means, well, you know, I'm horny for you, and the girl says, oh, you're gonna take care of me forever. You're my prince and charming.
Oh my! Think of that Meatloaf song.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. Okay, so it's
a good one.
So it's like it doesn't mean anything. Okay, so how do you communicate that you actually care about somebody? I mean, really and truly, how do you do that? How about this one? Oh, baby, you're hot. That doesn't really do it for you, Bree? Okay.
No.
Just thought I'd try it out and see. Okay.
I know a lot of people have.
Yeah, I bet they have. Yeah. It's a common mistake, you see, because we don't know what that means. In other words, to the person who's saying that, they're saying they're attracted to you, right? Mm-hmm. But they're so bashful about what they're trying to say that they can't say it properly. Okay, so they use this shorthand to say that they really like to get in the britches is what they're saying actually. But you know, we wouldn't say that on a family show, would we? Not with babies around. Okay, so let's not do that.
There you go.
Well, cover our little ears.
Yeah, I should hope so. Poor baby. Okay. Okay. Look, there's lots of words like that. Here's one: responsibility. I'm going to take responsibility. How does that even happen? If I did it, I'm responsible. I'm the one that did that. I'm the author of that particular fuck up. It's my responsibility. I don't take responsibility for it. I admit to it maybe, but I don't take it. I can't. Okay. So what does that mean? I take responsibility. Here's one that just drives me batty. My bad. What does that mean? I mean, I understand. Okay, I understand what you're pointing at, but what do the words actually mean? See, none of those phrases that I'm using here actually communicate anything really. They're phrases. We all use them. They're fillers. You know, here's a good. God bless you, hon. Or God love you, hon. Okay. What in the hell does that mean? You know, I've heard women say that about divorces, about marriages, about babies, about getting a deer in the woodshed. You know, I mean, you know, cows getting out in the field. I've heard that phrase about lots of things, and it's like I have yet to figure out what it means. I think I know where to use it mostly, but I don't know what it means ever. There are lots of those that go on like that, right? Have a nice day. Oh. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're going to communicate information, then we have to actually be careful about laying a foundation for what it is we're saying, why we're saying it. What's the title of the story? Why are we telling the story? Why does we want from the other person to listen to? What do we want them to look at? What part of the story are we questioning? Are we sharing, and so forth? What does that communication consist of? Is the actual question, I think, don't you? Because that's how information is transmitted. Okay, it's through accurate data that's somewhat ordered. You don't. some of it can be transferred with emotional content, and some of it can't be. Okay, it just can't be. You know, how about this one? How about if you're right? Have you been wrong recently? Have you been wrong recently? What did that look like? Go ahead.
Right.
Because see, I just have fun with these things. So.
Well, it is. Yeah. Well, like, but what you're getting into there is like dichotomies too. So.
Well, all that has to be brought to bear on a communication, okay? Because you have to communicate information. And what's information? Information is only information when the data is received and contemplated or stored and used by the other person. Okay, that's when it becomes information, when the other person can use it. And so if I use my own personal family shorthand for something, what does that mean? Like for instance, in my family, the word pumpkin means something, right? And it doesn't mean a big yellow thing that you turn into after midnight. That's not the same thing. Pumpkin in my family means that girl is a pumpkin. Okay, usually they're. That's a pumpkin I'm looking at right there. Yeah, that's a little pumpkin right there. There's a little pumpkin. Although in northeastern Pennsylvania it's pronounced pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin. Yeah. I couldn't spell it for a very long time because of that.
Then you were a pumpkin too, weren't you?
At one point, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I've probably exhausted this enough for the moment. So what else is on your mind, Lisa or Bree or Pumpkin Mama?
You guys?
Linda, you got something stewing over there? Because I know you did before.
Yeah, I did. So I'm just thinking about something that you and I talked about earlier, and I was rereading the chapter on communication, and I never really thought about the fact that third party requires agreement, and how communication and agreement would go together. Like I just never thought about that before. Mm-hmm. And that's been stewing around in my head a bit, because it's like,
okay,
it seems like putting this into words here.
Okay.
It was like, I got words. Well, it seems like
Well, take your best shot, kid.
Yeah, put it out.
Okay, Len, here.
Okay.
You got it?
No.
Okay. Do you understand what third party is? Do you think might be a place to start?
You know what? Probably not. But given a shot at it, just to see if I do. So if third party is agreement. Okay, so here's a question. When we talk about this, is third party a type of agreement, or is third party a Or do third party and agreement have a relationship to each other? Like, how does that part work?
Okay,
Because I think that's where I'm getting confused.
Okay, let's back it up to begin with, so that folks can figure out what it is you're talking about. Okay.
Okay.
Because, without some foundation, we're not going to communicate much here, right?
Right.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
What you're actually asking about is knowledge.
Okay.
Okay, because knowledge is something that the brain can use. Okay, in other words, if the brain can't use it, you could say if I can't use it, but it's actually the brain. Okay, if the brain can't use it, then it's not going to get used. Okay, for the brain to use something, it appears that you have to have at least a source of information. Somewhere the information comes from. Okay, in other words, somebody has to say it to you. You have to say, well, look at that. What happened there? Something. Okay, there has to be some kind of stimulus that brings that information to your attention. Then you have to have the experience of that whatever that is. Okay, you actually have to go put your fingers in it and play in the silly putty or whatever it is you're going to do. Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that you know what that's about. And then you have to go and you say, hey, was that silly putty I was just playing with? It felt kind of slimy and I could, I could hold it. Okay, is that what it is? And so somebody would say, well, yeah, that's what it is. Or they'd say, no, that's not what it is. Okay. And so then you would know, your brain would know that's silly putty or it's not silly putty. Okay. And so there is an agreement with you about what that actually is. Now, we can make that more complicated. Okay. What's your baby's name again, sweetie?
Layla.
Layla. Okay, we have a Leah and a Layla. Check this out. Layla. Okay. You like Eric Clapton a lot. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here's the deal. You knew what a baby was. You could identify babies. You could point at babies every time. Whenever somebody said, "Is this a baby?" you could say, "Yes, it was." But mm-hmm. You now have third-party substantiation from a baby about what a baby is, and that's way different than being able to point one out.
Oh.
You actually have the experience and the third-party substantiation and the authoritative source all wrapped up in the two of you. Now you can go to your mom, you can go to your grandma, you can go to your aunt Ellie or your Aunt Rosa or whoever it is that you go to, and you can say, "Okay, Aunt, tell or Mom or somebody, tell me what this baby's doing. What should I do to this baby?" You can go through and ask all that stuff. Gets mm-hmm. down to it, it's your decision. They can give you their opinion, but they're not rocking the baby. You are. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that means it's your decision now. The thing is that you can now say that you know what having a baby means. And I don't mean that, okay, look, I have a baby. Here, look, everybody, baby. No, that's not the thing. It's like, no, baby is, it's part of me that's growing, and I'm seeing it, and it's learning, and there's all this. Do you know that babies eat constantly, and they crap even more than? I mean, honest to God, they are a lot of damn work. Those babies are, and they don't come with instructions or anything else. They're just flat out work. How do you know? Because you have third-party substantiation with everybody around you. Everybody's saying, "Yep, that's a baby." Yep, we couldn't tell you that before, but yeah, babies are a lot of work. They puke on themselves. They puke on you. They'll pee all over you. They have no manners, none whatsoever. They cry and snot and squall about just anything. And who knows what it is. But now you have a good idea about what a baby is. Mm-hmm. Okay, you didn't know that until you had the baby, right?
Right.
Okay, so now you have third-party substantiation from a number of levels. Now we can say that you know how you know. Okay.
Okay.
If somebody asks you you don't know what it means to send a kid to kindergarten yet. I mean, you can visualize that sort of saying, "Oh my God, I got to do this all the way to kindergarten." You can kind of visualize that, but you don't know what that means to have done it yet because you don't have that experiences yet. So nobody mm-hmm. can say, "Okay, this is good. That just can't happen still, right?
Right.
Okay.
And something, Lisa, you keep telling me is every kid is different. So I could have this experience with this kid and then have a second kid and it would be something entirely new, right?
Yeah, completely different. Yeah.
No, it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They are. You know, Josh is way different than Megan, is way different than Diego, is way different than Leah, is way different than Lukey. You know, they're all different. They all have their own sets of whatever the hell they've got. Okay. So each child is a knowledge set. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you'll know how you know from each one. Now, after you do several of them, you can say, well, you know, kids are kind of like this. I've seen this before. So you have now you have what we call experience. But how do you get experience? By experiencing, right?
Right.
Okay. So I think we've exhausted that. Did that help you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Gonna definitely keep pondering that one, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, you see, for your brain to know something, you have to have agreement on it, right? You have to have somebody else that says, yes, that's a real thing.
Okay.
Right, because agreement is in with other people.
Can't be with you.
Right. Okay, right. Because so it has to be real. It has to be out in the world.
Well, not only that, if you're going to agree with something, do you want to agree with a fantasy or you want to agree with something real?
Real.
Even in boyfriends? Oh, okay. Just checking.
For sure, that one.
Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying, though? Okay, is that you can only agree to real things. Okay, because if you agree to a fantasy thing, how is that going to work for anybody?
Nope.
It won't work for the boyfriend. It won't work for you. It won't work at all, right? Because you guys are not agreeing to real things. You're agreeing to sort of real things. You're agreeing to fantasies. Okay, fantasies aren't real things. So the agreement's going to, even though you're both trying to make that fantasy work, it doesn't really.
Right.
So, John, is that what you meant when you said fantasy isn't what you want, it's what you get?
I'm sorry, again.
In the Dyad class, you said fantasy isn't what you want, it's what you get. Is that what you mean by that then?
Yes, sort of, yeah. So, yes, it is. Okay. You know, what do you visualize really when you're in your fantasy world, for instance? Okay, what is it you're visualizing? Oh, I'm mad at him. How dare he talk to me that way? Well, what's that visualization? Is that you guys getting along, or is that visualization you getting back and getting even with the little motherfucker for talking to you that way?
How dare he?
Really? That's what I said too. How dare he?
I need a moment.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Somebody's not happy.
No, he is
She
not.
communicates that
Yeah.
pretty well.
It's bedtime.
Yeah. So, what else? Where else we're going here with this, Miss Lisa?
I think Bree, you had some questions too.
Oh, okay, Bree, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
sure. So I was curious actually about the subtitle of your book, The Office of Shaman. I know it's quite, I was like, there's a lot to that, but even like a piece of it would, I think, be interesting to talk about, because I can about only memorize about the first part of it. I get to like part of it, and I'm like, wait, what's the rest of it? So, because we never say it, I haven't heard anyone say it yet. So, but the subtitle of the book for everyone is a hermeneutic rationale for the inclusion of the soul concept in the genesis of human thought. So it's
okay.
Quite large, but
yeah. All right. Look, here's the thing. It's really pretty simple, actually. Hermeneutics is a way of describing the relationship between belief and action. I mean that's in a very simple form. Okay. But I need to break this down so people can wrap their minds around it. Okay.
Okay.
In a religious context, which is where this whole concept came about, the action or the belief of a people would be the same. In other words, when the Spanish arrived in Mexico City in the 1500s, in the 1500s, when Cortez arrived, he saw them sacrificing people. Okay, and to his Christian beliefs, that's just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so he had to correct that because obviously these people were savages. Now, don't misunderstand, because what actually occurred there was that Cortez showed his own savageness by taking 5 of their tax collectors that didn't do what he wanted them to do, and he put a ship's chain around their necks, around these 5 of them, and chained them around a post, filled their feet up with things that would burn real hot, and burned them to death. Okay. Now, stop. Okay. What on earth did that man believe to be able to do that?
Jeez.
See, that's there you go. See, now you're looking at hermeneutics. See, you're saying, okay, what on earth could that person have believed to have done that thing?
Right.
Okay, now you've got to remember that he thought that he was king, right? He was representing the king, so he was doing the hard thing. That he was teaching a lesson to these wayward savages. Okay, there's all kinds of things that you have to put into that thing. There was a fervor, there was a Christianism, there was the Pope told me, and I don't know, on and on. Okay, none of which are really true, but they're beliefs that he had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and at that time, those things were considered to be real. Now, they weren't the same things as what people did that the Aztecs were doing. Okay, because what the Aztecs were doing is that they were thinking that they were making a sacrifice to the gods so that the god would be happy with what they were doing and bestow goodness on them. Now, it's a convoluted belief, but you see, the thing is that they were both doing the same thing, but for what they said was different reasons.
Right.
Okay, the Aztecs didn't torture people like that. They spread them out on a rock and cut their heart out. That was it. You're over and done. Okay. Cortez, his punishment was designed for the people to suffer. Okay, so, gee, which one of them was more Christian? Okay, neither one of them were Christian is the point, okay, that we have to come to, okay, that neither one of them were being Christian. However, they were both acting within their beliefs.
Right.
Okay, that's what hermeneutics is about. It's about taking an action and seeing what the belief is that supports that action, or taking a belief and see what action supports the belief. Okay, you want to see one that's really prevalent in North America?
Yes, please.
Okay, do you believe in Santa Claus?
Oh.
Do you believe in Christmas? Do you believe that you're going to get Christmas? You're going to get Christmas gifts to a good little girl?
Wow.
Okay. Do you go out and buy Christmas gifts and give them to people every year, like a good little slave? Okay. So you believe that Christmas is a time to give things to other people, and it's necessary, or you're not in the Christmas spirit, whatever the hell that is, right?
True. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there you go. There's an action giving gifts for Christmas. Okay. And there's a belief that I believe that Christmas is a time for celebration and giving gifts and so forth to tell the people I know and love that I really love them. That I'm thinking about them. That they're important to me. There's all kinds of things that go into that behavior, into that action. Okay. A simple one though. Here's a simple one. You're Catholic, right?
I am.
Did you go to Catholic school?
Yes.
Okay. How about you, Lori? Lori, did you go to Catholic school too, right? Or not?
Yeah, none of us did.
No?
Just
I'm the only one.
Oh, you're the only one that went. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Did you get baptized?
Yes.
Okay. Here's the thing. Did you there came a point in time in your Catholic or Protestant upbringing where baptism was necessary, because that baptism was a symbol or an action that said that you are now part of the Christian community.
Okay.
Okay.
So then like a bar mitzvah for Jewish people or a confirmation for a Catholic person is just an action that is saying now you're an adult.
A debutante ball does the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got my first buck. Same thing. Okay. In other words, there's all these things that we do that signify something to us. Okay, and that's what hermeneutics is. Okay, so what we're talking about, what I'm talking about in the title is, I'm saying, okay, look, you have to have a hermeneutic rationale. You have to have some way of defining why it is that we're putting this soul concept into the idea of generating thought in us biocomputers. So that's what the book's about those things, about how it is that we generate that hermeneutic rationale to justify or to give us, and it's not necessarily a justification, it's to give us the platform of including the soul or the spirit or the other, however you want to say about that. And I don't mean the soul that's going to go to heaven or to hell. No. The soul that actually helps us out with stuff, that we think with, that causes us to different concept. Okay, not religious at all. Okay, a non-religious concept for soul or spirit or something. Okay, probably more aligned with the Native American or indigenous types of thoughts about spirit. Okay, being part of the thing. Okay, of life. But you have to have a platform to be able to look at that, because you have to have that thing in order to see who we really are. Because see, we're not just bodies, are we?
No.
We're also spirits. Okay, or we're also spiritual in some way. We're energetic somehow or the other. In other words, there's some sort of ephemeral la that we can't really touch that affects the bejesus out of us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so what if we have a name for that, we can call it soul or spirit or something of that nature. Then how do we take advantage of it? Well, that's what the book's about. It's a hermeneutic rationale for the inclusion of the soul or spirit concept in the genesis of human thought. Because you see, the soul and the spirit has to be behind the things that we actually consider. That's the driving force. It's what brought us to life to begin with.
Yeah.
The body didn't just suddenly spring to life. It wasn't until the energy of life entered into the body that the body lived. I mean, we're looking at one of those right now on the screen here, right? We're looking at that very thing that took place. Now that spirit is growing, and the body's growing, and the spirit's learning, and so forth. All those things are taking place. Does it have religious connotations? I don't know, maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think it makes a damn bit of difference whether it's religious connotation or not. Do you want the baby to go to heaven, and you believe that you got to get her baptized to do that? Get her baptized. What the hell? It's okay. I don't mind. It's a good thing. You know, she won't like it much. She probably won't want to get all that water on her head, you know, or don't want her to drown or anything like that, depending on what's going on. But it doesn't make any difference. That soul and spirit's going to be there, whether or not the church comes along and says, "Oh, you know what? You're going to go to heaven." It's going to be there doing whatever it does anyway. You know, that was the thing. That was the whole thing of the reason why that the Council of Nicaea, one of the problems were, how do you call the Holy Spirit? They spent most of the argument on defining what that was about, and still today, the only cardinal sin in the Catholic Church's litany of sins is a sin against the Holy Spirit. Because they wanted people to stop doing those crazy things that people do when they get off into, you know, thinking that they're magic, taking too many shrooms or something, with too much acid or something like that. God knows what they're doing, you know. Calm it down a little bit, you know. Not with meth. No, it's even worse.
Reel it in here. Reel it in.
Yeah, let's bring it back.
There you go. Okay, so see, here's the thing. That's what that's about. That's what I'm trying to tell people with that. Okay, is that, look, there's a way of us looking at that so we don't have to make it all a gooey mess. What if the soul or the spirit was an advantage to us?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bree.
I'm thinking about that because by adding in that concept of because people argue about this. They argue about the soul. They argue about, I've had my.
They argue. Hell, they argue about whether or not Donald Trump's president. People argue about anything. You know,
it's everything. And it's like it opens up that space for it to actually fit within where it belongs. Well, it doesn't fit within, but it fits within, giving people space to actually consider that as actually its benefits, right?
Yes, that's the whole idea of this. Okay, in other words, yes, there are things. There are things really that we do that can, let's say, aid and abet what the spirit's trying to do, and there are things that we can do that just. It's like pouring peanut butter into your car. It doesn't run well. Okay, it doesn't. You should try. You'll find out. If you got to know, you got to know. So go put some peanut butter in there. You'll see it won't work.
And that would be fantasy, right?
No, it would be real at the time. It cost you a lot of money.
Gotta get a whole new car after that.
The fantasy would be up until you could put it in there. Once you put it in there, it would be a nightmare then, after that.
Yeah, I would call that a hard dose of reality.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead, Bree. I see you're still chewing there.
I'm still chewing. I'm thinking about the hermeneutics that what you talked about, and I think I'm definitely rattling around that the story that you were talking about, Cortez and the Aztecs, and I was like, that's a I think the hermeneutics may be the thing that's actually holding me up, wrapping my head around, because
no, sweetie. I did a nasty thing. I interlocked you with something that I knew you'd go, ooh, about. So I wanted you to remember about hermeneutics for a long time, because you keep going back to that and you never remember what I tell you about it. So I wanted you to remember this time. So I picked a particularly gory story that you would say, oh, yuck, John, why did you talk about that?
That worked quite well. That's always going to be in there now. I marked
Okay.
that one.
Okay. Baby mom over here was asking me just a little while ago about, she was saying, okay, what exactly do you do with interlock? Well, sweetie, now you see how interlock works, right? In other words, I wanted hermeneutics to be locked onto something well, let's say paying attention to something. Okay, that's really the whole point, yeah. So that you can pay attention to hermeneutics, so that you can it stays there. So when you think about Aztecs, you also think about Cortez and so forth. Yeah, great, super.
Okay.
Forever in a day. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be that's what we mean when we talk about marking something for yourself. You're
Yes.
interlocked with it?
Well, you can be. Okay, look, what actually happens is if you can see a memory clearly, okay. I don't know if you remember this video or not, but there was a video that we passed around here a while ago called Memory Hackers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
and in the Memory Hackers video, one of the things that took place was that they actually showed a picture of a new synapse being grown. Okay, because when a neuron is stimulated with new stimulation that it has to react to, it grows a new synapse to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in other words, it creates a new electrical pathway, and it says, okay, this is the way we're going to go now. We're not going to go down the old road. The old road got us into trouble. Go the new way over here. This is the new road here. The old road it's washed out. You can't even get down there. It's gone now. That's what happens in the neuron. Okay, and so you got to listen to them carefully. They speak a lot at night. You guys are acting like you're actually listening to this, and you shouldn't, because I'm fucking with you a little bit. Okay, neurons don't really speak to each other that way. Okay, but anyway, what does happen though is that we grow a new synapse. Okay, now growing a new synapse is a very important part of memory, because it allows us to adjust our memory. Okay, so for instance, somebody with another part of that same video is are people getting over their fear of spiders in a session. And what happens is that the lady who's doing the experiment, she pulls up their fear of the spider, and she gives them something to block the chemical that moves the fear from one synapse connection to another one. And there's a chemical in there that she affects, so that the fear can't be transmitted. And tomorrow, when the same people come in, they're holding and petting the tarantula.
Yeah.
Today, today when they first get there, they can't even get close to the tarantula without breaking out in a sweat and breathing hard and their mouth getting dry and so forth. Tomorrow, they're saying, "Oh, look, my new best friend," as they pet the tarantula.
So by interlocking someone, is that like kind of almost like directing them to the new synapse to see it?
No, not necessarily, sweetie. It's like, look, Bree was on the verge of denying that hermeneutics was something that she understands. And it's not difficult to understand. It's just a circle of things, an action and a belief. Belief and action. To-dum, to-dum, to-dum. That's all it is, okay? Which is not difficult to understand. So the thing is, though, is because Bree that indicates things to Bree that she doesn't want to look at, because she has actions that she doesn't want to admit are her beliefs as well. You probably have those. I know Lisa's had some of those. I've had a lot of those in my life. I mean, we all do, I think. Yep. I'm just older than you guys are. I fucked up with more of them than you have. That's it. And but here's the reality of it. I want her to remember that hermeneutics is something she understands. I really would like that. Would really like that to be true for Bree, because I know that she struggles with what that means, and I know that if she could look at it, if she can in her time pull that up and look at it, that it's gonna solve a number of problems for her, because that's the reason why she asked the question, right? She had a question about what does that mean? What does that statement say in the is your subtitle to the book? So what was her question about? Her question was about hermeneutics. She couldn't really wrap her mind around that. Okay, so let's give her an example where whether she wraps her mind around it or not, she's going to remember it a number of times. That gives her more opportunity to figure out whatever hermeneutics means for her and where she was trying to apply it.
Okay. I believe I'm following now.
Okay, cool. I think Bree is too, as much as she would hate to admit it.
Oh, you.
That's why you love me, Kim. Okay, what else we got, Lisa? Or is that our wrap for today?
Yeah, I think that's probably a wrap for today. Ladies, anything else? No?
No,
I think not at the moment.
Well, shall we do this again?
Yes, let's do this
I
again.
think we should. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. You let me know when you want to do this again, and we will. How's that?
Sounds like a plan.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for coming along and asking me lots of questions tonight. This was fun.
Yeah,
We had fun as well.
Yes, we did. So, well, let's just say good night and see you the next time around.
Well, already then. How about we do that?
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Have a good evening, folks.
Yep.
All right.
too.
You guys too. All right.
I
Bye.
promise. Bye.
Bye.